A signal from deep inside your biology, still trying to get you back on your feet, still trying to keep you moving through the world the way your ancestors always did. Because the truth is simple, once you see it clearly, you were never built to sit still. You were built to walk. The problem is that stillness, real prolonged stillness, is actually the unusual chapter in your story. For almost the entire history of your species, movement was the constant, and stillness was the rare exception, usually reserved for sleep or genuine danger passing. So tonight, when you finally sit down after a long day, and you feel that familiar restlessness creeping back in, don't fight it like it's a flaw. Recognize it for what it actually is. Cities, buildings, screens, and schedules appeared in what amounts to a blink of an eye on the evolutionary timescale. But the body underneath all of it is still the same body that walked, foraged, and moved for nearly its entire existence. It didn't get an update. It's still running the original code. And maybe that's the real reframe here. The problem was never that you can't sit still. You were built for a life spent almost constantly on the move, with only brief windows of true rest. So the next time you catch your leg bouncing during a long call, or you notice yourself pacing while you think, you're not failing to focus. You're not being fidgety in some undisciplined way. You're listening to an inheritance carried in your body since long before chairs, offices, or clocks existed at all. The world changed incredibly fast. Stillness, especially prolonged stillness, can actually work against both, which raises an uncomfortable question about how modern life is structured. Classrooms ask children to sit motionless for hours. Offices reward people who stay planted at a desk without shifting. Long flights and long meetings treat stillness as a sign of discipline. But biologically, you weren't built for any of that. A miniature version of the long walk it was built to take. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Fidgeting doesn't just burn calories. Some researchers believe it may also help regulate focus and mood. There's a reason so many people think more clearly while pacing, or feel calmer after tapping a pen through a stressful moment. Movement, even small movement, appears to be tied to how your brain manages attention and stress. His work suggests that this endurance capability, this deep evolutionary bias towards sustained low-level activity, is part of what made humans such effective hunters and foragers in the first place. Not brute strength, not raw speed. Persistence. The ability to keep moving, again and again, long after other animals would give up. So when your body defaults to small, repetitive motions during stillness, it might be echoing that same ancient persistence. There's another piece to this puzzle, and it comes from evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman, who has spent much of his career studying human endurance and movement. Lieberman's research points to something counterintuitive. Humans aren't built to be fast. Compared to almost every other mammal our size, we're actually quite slow in a sprint. What we're built for is endurance, long, sustained, repetitive movement over time. Walking, jogging, covering ground for hours. When your body senses long periods of stillness, it doesn't just accept it quietly. Some deep, old part of your physiology treats extended stillness as unusual, almost as a problem to solve. So it starts generating small bursts of movement on its own. A tapping foot, a pen clicking, a restless shift in your seat. It's not a bad habit. It's a built-in override, trying to nudge you back toward the kind of motion your body was designed to expect. In a single day, you might take a few hundred steps in an environment your ancestors would have covered in kilometers before lunch. Your genes don't know the difference between 2026 and 50,000 years ago. They were shaped by hundreds of thousands of years of near-constant motion, and they simply haven't caught up to a world of elevators and office chairs. This is where the fidgeting comes back in. It's the background rhythm of their entire day. Their bodies expect to be in motion, constantly, in small ways and large ones. Now compare that to your day. You wake up, you sit for breakfast. You sit in a car, a bus, a train. You sit at a desk for 8 hours. You sit again on the way home. You sit for dinner. You sit to relax in the evening. And yet, surprisingly, their total daily energy expenditure isn't wildly higher than that of a sedentary office worker in a modern city. How is that possible? Poncer's research suggests the body adapts. It doesn't just keep burning more and more energy the more you move. Instead, it recalibrates other systems to compensate. But the key detail is this. The Hadza's baseline of activity is high. Movement isn't an event they schedule. Much further, anthropologist Herman Poncer spent years studying the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer community in Tanzania, whose daily life closely resembles how humans lived for the vast majority of our species' existence. What he found challenged a lot of assumptions. The Hadza are almost constantly active. They walk, dig, climb, carry, and forage for hours every single day. Some of his subjects burned nearly as much through unconscious movement as others did through a structured workout. Think about that for a moment. Your leg bouncing under the table isn't nervous energy. It's a low-grade survival engine, quietly idling, waiting for a reason to switch into something bigger. But why would your body build in a system like that? Why not just relax when there's nothing to do? To answer that, you have to go back further. Not a gym session, not a run, just tapping, shifting, adjusting, pacing. The researcher most associated with studying this is James Levine, an endocrinologist who spent years measuring exactly how much energy fidgeting actually burns. His work found something remarkable. People who fidget more throughout the day can burn several hundred extra calories without ever intending to exercise at all. So when you fidget during a meeting or bounce your knee during a long car ride, you're not being distracted. You're running an ancient program that never got the memo that the world changed. Let's decode what's actually happening. Fidgeting has a real scientific name. Researchers call it NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's the energy your body burns through small, unconscious movements that aren't formal exercise. For most of human history, sitting still simply wasn't an option. Your ancestors woke up and moved. They walked for food. They walked for water. They walked away from danger and toward opportunity, often for 10 or 20 kilometers in a single day. Movement wasn't exercise, it was survival. And the body you're living in today was built inside that reality, not inside an office chair. Right now, some part of your body is moving. Your leg is bouncing, your fingers are tapping, your foot is tracing tiny circles under the desk. You didn't decide to do this, it just happened. And you've probably been told to stop it your whole life. Sit still. Stop fidgeting. Pay attention. But here's the strange part. The urge you keep suppressing might be the oldest instruction your body has ever followed.